For more on this, I'm joined by Oleksandr Kraiev from Kyiv. He's an expert at the Foreign Policy Council, Ukrainian Prism. Great to have you here with us on TRT World, Oleksandr. Now, what's the likelihood of European countries sending their soldiers to Ukraine to fight the Russians?
As of now, the likelihood of such scenario is quite low because we do understand that the necessity of such actions as well as the readiness of our allies to take such step is very low. And we do see some opposition within NATO leaders, within European leaders to such a development. But at the same time, this is a good scenario for Ukraine, and even the start of such debates can be perceived as a good scenario for Ukraine, because we do understand that NATO allies and European allies are getting ready for more actions. They're ready to do more for Ukraine, even not if in sending troops to Ukraine, but at least at providing more ammunition, providing more weapons, and enhancing their efforts to stop the Russian aggression. So basically, the chance of such development is very low, but the whole discussion is very positive for Ukraine.
How do you think the Kremlin might respond to such a scenario?
Well, it has already responded. They said it's a great, it's a grief development for them. It's a near apocalyptic scenario because Kremlin always perceive any changes on the NATO perception of Russian aggression as an apocalyptic scenario. Of course, some of the Kremlin speakers, for example, Dmitry Medvedev or Vyacheslav Volodin, they have already stated that Russia can react with nuclear arms if necessary. But apart from that, no new development or no new non-nuclear escalation has been undertaken by Kremlin, because basically everything that Russia can use apart from nuclear weapons has already been used. So as of now, Kremlin only reacting politically and informationally, but there is nothing new in such reactions for us.
To what extent do you think there is consensus among European countries when it comes to sending European troops to Ukraine, or do you think it's just the French president floating this idea?
As of now, we do see that the main speaker for such an idea is, of course, Emmanuel Macron, but at the same time, we do see some support for such idea on the part of other allies. For example, the Baltic states are very supportive of the idea. Some of the politicians from Poland, apart from the crisis situation of Polish-Ukrainian border, they are also supportive of the idea of providing some contingent for more security for Ukraine. We see some opposition on German side as well. So we do see a divide between our allies on this issue, but at the same time, the sole fact that some countries are ready to take such necessary actions is very pleasing and very welcomed by Ukrainians. So apart from the lack of consensus, the sole idea of this discussion is very favorable.
Oleksandr Kraiev, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World.